How would you like to save or put $200 into your pocket on every closing here after watching this video on every single real estate deal you do? Hi, I'm Phil Pustiowski with Freedom Mentor. I am a real estate investor, coach, mentor, now an author and best-selling author based on what Amazon's recent rankings just showed. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how to save money on title insurance. When you sell a property, typically, and pretty much every situation you'll ever deal with, the new buyer is going to pay for title insurance. That insurance is basically a fee to ensure that the title that they got, in other words, that they are the owner of the property, the deed, doesn't have any imperfections that would prevent somebody else from coming back and saying, hey, that's my property. That's what title insurance is. And so when you sell a property, the new buyer almost always, in fact, I've never seen a situation otherwise, where they always get title insurance. Now, here's what happens with title insurance. The title company, which might be the escrow company as well, which might be the closing attorney as well, but sometimes they're a separate company. Title companies would be like First American title insurers. Fidelity's another one. Founders is another. There's a lot of different title insurance companies. They're going to insure title based on the sales price. So the higher the sales price, the more the title insurance is going to be. This is a closing cost. So oftentimes, especially beginners in real estate, like, what are the closing costs going to be? Well, one of the biggest expenses, if not the biggest expense, is going to be title insurance. And here is a wonderful tip that very few people will ever tell you about. When you are selling a property, the new buyer is going to be getting title insurance. Oftentimes, they charge the seller for that. In other words, in the contract, they write that the seller is going to pay for title insurance, which means you, as the seller, are going to be paying for it. And as an investor, if you're buying it, sometimes the seller is going to want you to be paying for title insurance. In either direction, you can save upwards of $200 on every time you do a deal and buy title insurance with this one simple strategy. Listen to this. All you have to do is get a copy of the previous title insurance policy from the existing seller. That's all you have to do. And when you get that title insurance policy, you save on title insurance. They give you a discount. It's that simple. So every time you buy a property or every time you sell a property, one of those closing costs is going to be title insurance. All you have to do is get access to the existing title insurance policy, and voila, you just saved money. That simple. Very few people will tell you that. Okay, so where do you get this previous title insurance policy? Well, usually the seller, in their big, thick folder of closing documents, they usually have this. It's usually in there somewhere. If it's not in there, especially if you're looking at this big, thick folder, there's usually going to be the contact information of the closing company or the title company. And then what you do is you can just call them up and say, hey, this closing occurred on this date, and here's the address, and you can get the title insurance policy that way. It's that simple. So, I mean, hey, okay, it's only $200, right? Well, that's $200 in your pocket. You know, oftentimes people don't realize just how many expenses can be in a real estate closing, and it can really eat away at the profits. So any little edge you can get to save money on any closing cost, that's money in your pocket. That's good stuff. And with title insurance, that's every transaction. Isn't it nice to know that now, after watching this video, you can save money on every closing? I say every closing. If the seller doesn't have title insurance, if you're buying like an REO, you may not be able to make that that kind of savings. But outside of those, hey, you're saving money on every deal. All right, well, I'm Phil Pustiowski with FreedomMentor.com. We coach, train, and mentor real estate investors and help them become successful. You can also check out my book, How to Be a Real Estate Investor. It's on Amazon, and people are loving it. You can check out the reviews. It is a fun day to be in real estate investing. The market is absolutely ripe for the picking. It's a wonderful time to be in the business. And hopefully you enjoyed this tip. And do something to make sure you remind yourself of this every time you do a closing. Put it on a closing checklist that every time you do a real estate closing, you make sure and get the previous title insurance policy so you can save money. All right, thanks for watching.